Happy Wednesday in the fantastic City Hall of Providence. Mayor, thank you for hosting yet again another honoring and celebration of April as Organ Donation Month, supporting life and the opportunity to save a life through organ transplantation. My name is Matt Boger. We represent the federally designated organ procurement organization. It is our job each and every day to help save and enhance lives through organ and tissue donation. And today we are celebrating in Rhode Island, in Providence, in New England, and nationally, April as Organ Donation Month. The month of spring, the month of rejuvenation, the month of flowers. This also is the month to recognize that life can be had again through transplantation. I do also want to recognize the state who plays a significant role in this process, in that when individuals go to the Rhode Island DMV to get their license, ID, or real ID, the question, would you like to register as an organ donor, is posed. And you have the opportunity to get the heart on your license. This heart means you're a registered donor and provides the opportunity to help save a life if you no longer need it. I do need to clarify that organ donation is very, very, very rare. It does not happen often. In fact, in all deaths, only 5% of individuals are able to be organ donors. And I do want to recognize Tamara, who is our in-house coordinator at Rhode Island Hospital, who does a wonderful job each and every day being at the hospital, assessing to see if there's a case available to really honor an individual and have them help save a life. Mayor, you have been such a wonderful champion for this cause that is supported by so many, and thank you for being here today in your house to celebrate April's Organ Donation Month. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I want to thank everyone for prioritizing this and for making it a standout issue that we continue to advocate for. So I thank everyone, but in particular I want to recognize a member of my team, Sue Robio, who is an organ recipient, is it?
Found an organ for something.
Found an organ for something. Sue's just a hustler. She manages and finds solutions. Kind of a fixer, right? Yeah, that's actually very true. But thank you, Sue, from my team as well. First of all, I just got to say, Matt, if I had a percentage of the energy that you bring to this, man, I'd be floating. But I appreciate the enthusiasm that you bring to the cause, and it really does translate into more effective work. So thank you for your leadership on this. I'm here to urge as many people as possible, when they do get their license or ID, to please either check the box or answer yes and become an organ donor. I've done it as well, and I'll tell you, the first time that I got a license, I wasn't an organ donor. I just didn't really know about it, so I didn't say yes. But what happened is, my mother is an organ donor. My mom has always been someone who I look up to. And I remember her discussing it one day, and she mentioned that if she's no longer around, but she can do something really small to help someone else, it's kind of a no-brainer. Why would she not do it? And this ability to touch a life and to make the world around us a little bit better, even after we're gone, is something that spoke to me. And then after that, following my mom and being inspired by my mom, I did it. And I hope that by sharing these personal stories, connecting with people who perhaps mindlessly didn't think about it, said no, the next time that you have an opportunity and you're asked that question, you'll just think twice about it. And we urge you to please say yes and become an organ donor. We live in a world where sometimes we're at each other's necks. There's a lot of anger, a lot of anxiety, and we're separated along so many different fault lines. But I think that this works against our nature. The reality is that we all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We all want to help out wherever we can. And if we can do something even after we're gone to make the world a better place, and I think that's a no-brainer, and it's something that we should all do. So I urge everyone to please become a donee, an organ donor, and we're here to bring more attention to this and celebrate Donate for Life Month. So thank you so much to everybody, and I look forward to continuing this work.
Mayor, thank you for your wonderful words, and it is little doubt why you are the mayor. You're such an inspirational individual, and like so many who are inspired by their moms know best. So it's always good to take their advice. As we said, the state plays an important role in this process. In fact, 98% of all people who register as organ donors do so through the DMV. Rhode Island is a fantastic state. That being said, we are just behind the national average. We have 48% of people in Rhode Island registered as organ and tissue donor. Right now, nationally, the average is 50%, and in New England, we're a little bit higher than that, about 51%. Rhode Island is a wonderful state, and we want to encourage people to think about registering as an organ donor. You can do that when you get your license, or you can go online right now at registerme.org and identify yourself as an organ donor. I will say that life, our motto here, donate life, is the most important thing. We don't want anyone to lose their lives. Having someone else die to benefit someone else is a zero-sum game. That being said, sadly, people do pass away, and there is an opportunity to save up to 8 individuals through organ transplantation and over 50 people through tissue transplantation. Today, there's over 108,000 individuals in the United States waiting for that life-saving call. That translates into 6,000 individuals here in New England waiting for that life-saving call to have a new organ. 22 people die each day waiting for an organ. We can help solve this, and one of the solutions is having more people register. Again, the DMV, who is overseen by the Department of Revenue here in the great state of Rhode Island, does a great job, and Paul has been a wonderful advocate and a member of the Advisory Council on Organ and Tissue Donation. Paul, thank you for being here and saying a few words. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much, Matt, for having me here, and Mayor Elorza for hosting this. As Matt said, I am the coordinator for the Department of Revenue and the Division of Motor Vehicles, and I've been doing that for 6 years, and it's a wonderful organization. It's a wonderful program, and it's really easy for you to sign up. It's simply check the box whenever you get a new license or when you renew your license. And when Matt knows that when he asked me to be the coordinator for the department, it was an easy decision for me because one of my closest relatives was one of the early heart transplant recipients. He was in the early 1980s, and he lived for 20 years. And for somebody who was a Marine Corps captain and Vietnam vet, it was probably one of the scariest things to do at the beginning, and it turned out to be easily the best decision he made because it gave him a chance to see his grandchildren grow up. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. That's actually the first time I've heard that story. It kind of gets surprised out of me. But Paul, the mayor was saying people who fix things, you are that. So thank you for being such a good conduit for that. And that's a really great segue because the individuals who've been touched who are alive today because of transplantation are just so thankful for their donors and living wonderful lives. We have an example of that today. Kim Dolan, a heart recipient herself, is here to share her story. Kim, thanks so much.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to share my story with you. On January 1st of 2017, I was diagnosed with a very rare congenital heart disease called cardiomyopathy. It was actually more so called non-compaction cardiomyopathy. On February 1st, I was put on the heart transplant list. I had suffered from only two things. I had shortness of breath and I had fatigue. Those were my only symptoms. So moving on November 2nd of 2017, a woman who was 45 years old died suddenly. Her name was Leanne. On November 3rd, I received Leanne's heart. Leanne saved my life. Leanne was 45, as I mentioned. She loved horses. She was a donor. She saved my life. And in that breath, I hope that you will also consider being a donor and save someone's life like Leanne saved mine. Thank you.
Her name was Leanne, and you're living a wonderful life through her. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. This wonderful city hall and this wonderful building, who's got interesting acoustics. Thank you for shutting the door. I can now hear. Nicely done. But this city hall has been touched by organization as well. As the mayor acutely said, one of his wonderful staffers has got a really great story. Sue, thank you for being here again and sharing that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mayor, for hosting this. We're here to bring awareness, and I do have a great story to tell, and it happened right here in City Hall. And it just goes to show how easy it is to find a kidney. So basically, I was in City Hall and asked a friend if she could create a Facebook page, because my brother-in-law was in need of a kidney. She said, sure, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, great. When do you want to do this? She's like, no, I'll donate the kidney. And I said, you can't donate a kidney. You have to be like O positive. And she said, I am O positive. And at that moment, it felt like everything just stopped. And the next 6 months was aggressive testing and, just to make sure that she was the right fit. As you mentioned, there's a lot of people that go through the process and are turned away. Well, he had 6 people go through the process before he got to her. It's been 11 years since he received the kidney. He's doing well, the donor's doing well, and I appreciate this event that we get to speak out and tell people about it. So thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Sue. Wonderful. And I believe he received that on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Very giving. So the most in-demand organ is, in fact, the kidney. Living donation is separate than registering as an organ donor. We encourage everyone to consider that as well. 80% of all people who are waiting for a transplant are waiting for a kidney. An individual has 2 kidneys, and one can be a living donor. In fact, Rhode Island Hospital has a fantastic living donation program, and we encourage people to think about that. I do want to make sure that it's clear that if you're registered as an organ donor through the DMV, it's only after you've passed away. And actually, organ donation being so rare, you're more likely to need a transplant than to become an organ donor. That's why it's so important that we provide hope and have more people register as organ donors. I do also want to indicate that registering as an organ donor is a voluntary choice. You can say yes or you don't have to say yes. That being said, it is not a neutral choice. Both the state and federal government strongly supports this opportunity to help save a life and presents it on a state document in Rhode Island at all 50 states via the DMV, BMV, or RMV. Would you like to register as an organ and tissue donor? We are pleased that we are the only public health question on the DMV application to provide this. So again, thanks to Bud and his wonderful job at the DMV and the work that he does. Sharing stories of individuals personally touched is so important. That's what we're here to do today. I'm so excited to have our volunteer, who I've heard a lot about but I have not seen yet. So Komisa is here to share her story. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate that.
Good morning. I want to thank again City Hall and the mayor for this opportunity to not just tell a story but to testify about the goodness of giving back. I was diagnosed at the age of 32 with pulmonary fibrosis. I was only 4 years into my marriage. 7 years later, I received a transplant, but that was not without the roller coaster of the emotional and pretty much life-threatening saga of the journey of transplant. In 2017, I had a miracle baby, which exacerbated the whole lung condition. In 2020, I was told I had 6 months to live. This was in January. By the end of that January, I had finally made the lung transplant list, only to be taken off again because of the COVID pandemic that affected the lungs. There was no hope or possibilities with people dying because of COVID-19. In May, which was the 5th month, me and my husband had written our will and pretty much looking into hospice services. I could no longer walk the length of the house when we received a call on a Saturday that they had a pair of lungs for me. Sorry. The next day, my husband drove me up to Mass General Hospital, and I went in there with nobody because COVID-19 did not allow family to walk in with you. So it was only because of the doctors and nurses I was able to have the strength and the strength of God to face a lung transplant, which was a 9-hour surgery in my situation. The next day was Mother's Day. It had been the most important day of my life, May 10th. I want to say, becoming a donor is so much more than just registering. My donor was able to save about 8 lives that day. Not only that, when you become a donor, it's not only when you pass away, but you can become a live donor, and people desperately need it. I can honestly say without my donor, I would not be a mother today. I would not be a wife, I would not be a friend, I would not be a daughter. I would not be able to champion for this cause. So today, I urge you guys, and everyone watching, to please register and donate. It's very easy, and I thank you for your time.
So there's a very lucky husband right behind me here. Without my donor, I would not able to be a mother, a wife, a friend. Powerful, real words. Thank you so much for sharing that and encouraging people to do this simple thing, which is just registering. And the idea of an organ donation is for everyone. Men can donate to women. Women can donate to men. Race doesn't matter. It's all about the humanity of things. And to share these stories and to really celebrate lives saved and sharing those lives is wonderful. There are two sides of organ transplantation. The lives that are personally touched and they're living wonderful lives, and also the donor families who miss their loved ones each and every day, but realize that their loved one is the very definition of a hero who helps save the lives of others. I'm so pleased to have Billy, who is a fantastic Rhode Islander, I don't know what you call themselves, Rhode Islander, here to share his story about his husband. Thanks, Billy, appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. 4 years ago, my husband and partner of 20 years suddenly died. He was a popular hairdresser here in downtown Providence at the Arcade Building. A wonderful man. Whatever I could say about him would not be enough. But he was also a registered organ donor. He was able to donate his heart, liver, and kidneys, saving 3 lives. I have met the heart recipient, and he and his family have become like a second family to me. I am invited to every holiday and birthday party of theirs, and there is always a stethoscope around when I want to listen to my husband's heart again. The man that received my husband's heart has 6 daughters and a son. Because of the heart transplant, he was able to walk his youngest daughter down the aisle on her wedding day. That daughter and I have become close friends, and a couple of years ago, she gave birth to her firstborn son and named him after my husband, Joe. We talk a lot about the organ recipients and organ donation and how it saves their lives, but I'm here to tell you what it does for donor families. This family has helped in my healing more than they will ever know, and will forever be a part of my life. I adore this family, and it's as if my husband picked them out himself for me. The relationship I have with them and what it has done for me personally is just as miraculous as the heart transplant itself. Thank you for letting me share my story, and please become an organ donor. Thank you.
Billy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I've heard it several times, and it is very compelling. And Joe, again, is a hero, and it's nice to share. So, Mayor, thank you again for taking a little bit of time out of your day to celebrate life, to celebrate something that we can all take part in. You mentioned that in today's world, people look for ways to separate. This is one way that we can all unite together. No matter what your background is, no matter what you believe, the idea of providing hope and providing life and preserving the memory of individuals, organ donation represents all of that.